everybody. We're on the line today with Elijah, CEO of Estrella House Cleaning. How are you doing today, Elijah?
I am good. How about you?
I am feeling blessed and highly favored. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah, it's an honor, really.
Can you tell everybody a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, so my full name's Elijah Fosthauer, and I pretty much grew up here in Estrella Mountain Ranch. I've been here for 17 years, so ever since I started school, I went to Estrella Mountain uh, Elementary School and then Estrella Foothills High School, and then I went off to ASU in Tempe for 3.5 years, and I was pursuing business administration, and I was just finding that I just wasn't learning what I needed to own a business rather than run someone else's. So I ended up dropping out and I started a stray house cleaning. And that was around December. And then I officially uh, got licensed in January, the beginning of January of 2023.
Excellent. Quite the praise report there. And can you just do a laconic summary of what Estrella House Cleaning does?
Yeah, so it's residential house cleaning, and uh, we specialize in recurring. So as soon as you sign up, uh, we give you a nice deep first cleaning, and every time it's the same things. So from top to bottom, so ceiling fans, light fixtures, going down to any flat surfaces and dusting, the bathrooms, kitchen, down to baseboards, cabinets, and we get your floors vacuumed and mopped in the end. So it's a really deluxe service that includes the whole house cleaning. And what's nice is after the first time, you do it every other week, and it keeps it the same cleanliness. So basically, you never have to clean your house again.
That's great. Well, honestly, you had me at baseboards. That tells me you're doing very thorough work.
Yeah, you gotta get on your hands and knees for those.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
great. So obviously, as a luxury integrated medical practice ourselves, we do everything, right? We do primary care, psychiatry, therapy, but really, we're a faith-based company and we look at everything holistically. So that's what intrigued me about having you on with us today. Number one, we always like to support local small business owners, so thank you for doing what you do and the unique way you're serving our community. But number two, we really think that a clean environment is imperative for health, and there's many reasons why.
Hmm.
Number one, being healthy is so much more than not being sick. It's about living in a clutter-free environment, in a place that has good feng shui and makes you feel good every day. A
Definitely.
home, is supposed to be a safe space. Now,
Hmm.
that's how I feel about house cleaning. What inspired you to start house cleaning, to stray house cleaning?
Yeah, so I do find it very satisfying to see the before and after of people's homes, and I share that same love uh, with my employee. Her name's Elvia. So right now it's just me and her, and we make a great team. And we share the same love for seeing the before and after. She'll randomly like text me and be like all excited about like, oh yeah, I just made this like I'm working on mirrors and I'm getting better, so and so, and it's really exciting. But also, I see the potential in Estrella. Estrella doesn't have like one choice in house cleaning. Like that's like an obvious like, you talk to your neighbor and you're like, oh man, I need to get a house cleaner. I don't have enough time on my hands, or I can't keep up with my kids and all the pet hair. Well, there's so many like options that just seem okay. They're not really specific to like the Goodyear or especially the Estrella Mountain Ranch area. And so that's where I come in, and uh, I really want to develop myself in the community that I grew up in, and and I'm starting to meet other business owners, local business owners like you, and getting to talking to them, and it's really inspiring. Just this little community. I mean, after coming back from Tempe, uh, man, it's Tempe in the city. It's just kind of it's a little depressing. Like you don't know your neighbors really. Uh, it's not as pretty. You're not next to the outdoors. Man, I really missed Estrella Mountain Ranch, and coming back, I appreciate it a lot more than I did when I was like in my childhood.
Well, welcome back.
Yeah, I'm glad I am back.
What challenges did you face when starting the business?
So, I'd say when I first started, I was really slow at cleaning. Like, I mean, like really slow. Like, my first house was my own, uh, and it took me 11 and a half hours for the first cleaning.
Yeah, that's not a sustainable model there.
No, no, no. So, yeah, 11 and a half hours. Uh, Keep in mind, a lot of that was me teaching myself how to clean, and I was like, I was learning off of a book how to clean and trying to implement that, uh, trying to figure out what to use, like what products to use. So it had been like the first 3 months were all like experimentation, getting faster, getting more and more consistent, until the point where I was like, yeah, I'm ready to hire an employee. I need help. Um, I need help cleaning these houses. I don't have enough time to both clean houses and call people back and get people onto the schedule. I was finding myself missing calls and uh, like missing messages too because I was just always cleaning. And especially, it was a rough transition during me getting an employee on. The first, the first employee that I tried bringing on, uh, she she decided after the second day it wasn't something she was wanting to do. I definitely should have had a more thorough interview, I think. Uh, it's really different between, oh, I love cleaning my own home versus, oh, I'm going to love cleaning 8 hours a day, other people's homes, and I'm going to be efficient and manage my time. It's a completely different thing. And so I fixed my interview process.
Excellent.
And
Yeah, that's good. It's my understanding, based on your website, that you have a pretty rigorous interview process, correct?
yeah, the questions they drill pretty hard. It's not going to be an easy interview. Uh, so I definitely I'm glad with who I have right now, Elvia. Uh, I can tell she loves cleaning. She texted me just before this podcast that she was excited about how she was getting faster at bathrooms, and she sent me like a picture of her time.
Oh,
Um,
that's great. So
yeah,
just to be clear, how long does your deep clean take now with the straight house cleaning?
yeah. So for my size house is 2,400 square feet, which is a little under the average amount. So that took 11 and a half hours, right? Now this size of house should take max like 6, and if it's clean enough, 5 for the first
That's
time.
good.
Yeah.
Hmm. Good, excellent. So how has the straight house cleaning grown since it started?
Yeah, so I started out, I mean, in January, my cleans were so spread out and apart. And I was working at Subway, actually the Subway up here at the time, just to, pay my bills while I was getting this started. And, well, it was basically like a part time gig at first, which obviously I didn't want it to stay a gig. I wanted this to be, I'm passionate about business, and I wanted this to be the thing that I do, like only, this is the only thing that I do. So it was, it really, I was surprised I hadn't gotten much like, um, customers from people telling other people, which once that begins to kick in, like referrals, like people telling their friends.
Sure.
Actually, it's not true. I actually did get one on Facebook, but people telling their friends, and then that's where I actually see it start to grow, to really grow, starting now. I think, um, right now I have 12 customers, So it's pretty small. It is uh, definitely for Elvia. It is like a part time, but I don't plan for that to be for very much longer, as I have all the time in the world to get uh, to be doing sales and to really be telling people like, hey, like I'm here. Uh, if you want someone local who cares and uh, someone in Estrella and yeah, so I grew. So I've grown from four from like in the first month to 12 now, and mostly from like Facebook. Honestly,
That
Facebook
is
is.
really outstanding. Yeah, that's absolutely outstanding growth in such a short period of time. And
Thank you.
it's a great opportunity for community members to kind of get in at the ground floor level and get that executive level experience, so to speak, because a lot of these house cleaning services, it's so difficult to get an appointment.
It. Yeah, I. Yeah, sometimes they book out ahead of time. So I'll tell
Hmm.
you a secret actually about that. Um, I have a lot of friends in the house cleaning community and some in like the business community as well. I just came back from a business event where it was all the biggest house cleaning companies in the United States coming together. I got to actually eat dinner with some really large businesses, and yeah, so I forgot my original point.
Well, let's jump right into the important part. So,
Yeah.
what sets Estrella House Cleaning apart from other cleaning companies? So, what is going to be that aha moment that community members are going to have that's really going to drive them towards needing Estrella House Cleaning as opposed to a different cleaning company?
Oh yeah, yeah. We were talking about reliability. So yeah, that is definitely the big one. Um, I am very involved in the company, and I care a lot about how reliable the company is. Uh, and of course, it's just like some other bigger companies, except that at the moment, my prices are a little more fair than their. Uh, so my prices contain a lot more value than theirs at the moment. So like bonded, insured, licensed, workers' compensation, criminal background checks, uh, all that good stuff to be rest assured that the cleanings are going to be good, reliable because, uh, like you were talking about earlier, like they're like, oh, I can't get a spot, and even if they do get a spot, sometimes they don't even show up, and yeah, so that is not okay in my book. Like if this is my baby, like this company, and I care a lot about what people think about it, and I care a lot about my work. And so it's actually nicer that I have an employee now, because if she can't make it for any reason, I'm the backup. So when you're hiring a company, that instead of it being one person that's coming to clean your home, and it's just like, oh, they have a kid and like they have to go pick him up from school, they have an emergency. It's like, no, it's different because you're rest assured that your clean's going to be uh, it's going to get done because you have that backup system. But also, I was going to say earlier about not being able to get a spot on the schedule, or like you have to do it like a week or two ahead. The secret I was going to say is that not doing move in and move out cleans, or at least not doing them as much. Uh, so cleaning companies are attracted to move in and move out cleans because there's so much more money, because you have to get them, so they're able to charge more. I don't do move in and move out cleans at Estrella House Cleaning, and that's because I'm prioritizing being able to get onto my schedule at a reasonable time, uh, at a reasonable speed as well. So like I have like appointments. You can be rest assured I'll have a time within the next week, uh, rather than trying to book, further out than a week ahead for
That's excellent.
because they
That
book
really
it
is
all up
excellent.
with the realtors will book up uh, their cleanings with move in and move out cleans, um, but that can end up being a mistake for the residents that already live there. Um, but yeah, that's just the way I've taken it for Stray
So
House Cleaning.
Elijah, it sounds like what you're telling me sets Stray House Cleaning apart from other cleaning companies is number one, the fact that it has a very invested owner and CEO, being yourself, invested in the community relations, invested in the quality control, and invested in principles of veracity and reliability. It sounds like you're also telling me that you're very readily available to our community members. So not only can they get a good quality experience from a company that cares, but they can get it in a timely manner at a reasonable price with a great degree of value included in that price. Is that what you're telling me?
Definitely. And another thing that I just joined, since I started, I've been wanting to give back to the community with like something to do with like giving free cleanings out, but I wasn't really sure how I wanted to make that work, or like how I was going to be able to afford it, or like who I was going to decide like, oh yeah, you get a free cleaning or something like that. Like I wanted to be able to give back, and like, it's exciting when you get a gift like that. And so I ended up joining in the event that I went to, the conference. I ended up joining Cleaning for a Reason, and they help cancer patients get their homes clean because it's very important that their space is nice and clean, not only for their physical health, but for their mental health as well, going through such a stressful period in their life. And
Absolutely.
I'm very happy that I joined. And so right now I'm donating to them, and I'm doing up to two cleans a month for them. I actually have one coming up on next Thursday, I believe. I'll be going in. Her name's Maria. I'm pretty excited to meet her and really see her story and to be able to help her directly, which is like really cool.
That
Uh,
is so amazing, Elijah. I think that's a great way to steward the gifts that you've been provided. As a faith based company ourselves, we really value giving back to the community in any way that we can, and I think that's commendable that you've been able to incorporate that into your business practice.
right, because my company may not always be around, like off in the far future. Uh, but like what really matters is like helping other people. Uh, I don't really see the point of business, especially when I started. I wasn't really looking at the money. I was like, this is something different because people can see when you're just doing it for money, and it shows when you it shows in pretty much everything you're advertising, the way you treat your employees, the way pretty much everything works. But if it's more than that, because life is more than just making money, that would be absolutely pointless. Like touching people's hearts and helping others, but doing that through business because you have the resources, like the financial resources from the business and all of the, all the other people helping you. Uh, you're able to like help more people's lives than just if it was just you, or you were doing it off of your own personal. You can touch way more people with a business than you can
100.
with a.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. I couldn't agree more. And one thing I'll have to say that sets you apart from other cleaning companies, you probably don't want to pat yourself on the back too much, or kind of divulge something that hasn't really happened yet. But I know that you and I have actually had some dialogue regarding maybe becoming, the first house cleaning service in the West Valley to have kind of a medical directorship and a medically approved program that you could kind of get a stamp of approval from a healthcare provider. So I think that's commendable for you even exploring that as an option.
Yeah, definitely. That's a huge opportunity, and yeah, like you likely know, you do know a lot more about health than me and your entire organization. So that'd be great for you to be able to help us out in that, because health is more important than business, and it's more important than everything because health is if you're not feeling good, like everything else is going to be harder, you know?
So, can you describe the process of hiring and training your cleaning staff? I know you mentioned you have Elvia. We talked a little bit of the hiring process. So, what does the training process look like for your staff?
Yeah, so uh, it was a little different for the first one because I didn't have like a full-time schedule for her, so it was a little more part-time, but it would be 5 training days, and at first it would be them just following me or following the person training. It would be them. The trainer would explain the system, so I would be explaining like, all right, you want to start in the bathrooms, and you want to work clockwise, and make sure you're trying not to backtrack. Make sure you're like I'm teaching them like the level of quality that I'm looking for, um, which is definitely higher than a lot of people's. Like I see, cause since I've cleaned houses quite a bit, and I'm sure some people can relate to this. Like you see like everything. Like I can see, uh, and that's definitely part of the 11 and a half hours that I that it took me for the first time. But anyways, so after that, once they start to get like to the knowledge of like the clockwise system, not missing anything, going top to bottom, left to right, back to front, uh, I let them start being more hands on, and I start following them, and I point out when like they might have missed something, or and then I start letting them make mistakes and then correcting them, after they're done with the bathroom, just like, hey, if you take a look at this, then, and then they learn more and more like, okay, like I need to work on, remembering to hit the cabinets after I'm done cleaning the sink, or, uh, not forgetting doing the ceiling fans when you walk into a room during dusting. So after a bit of, most of it is going to be the trainer following the trainee, because you can't really learn with just like somebody just saying it to you. Like you have to actually get your hands on learning, and that's pretty much the cleaning process. And basically, uh, what's important to me is I'm the owner of the company, and I really care a lot about my standards and the cleanliness,
Right.
the product of what happens after the clean. And I feel really good about Elvia, and I feel really good about like the future of me hiring more. I think I've put in a good system. Uh, I also do random drop-ins, so they know, uh, it. They know that at any moment I could come by and just be like, "Hey, everything looks great," or like, "Hey, I think you missed this," and then
Right, right, absolutely. It sounds so. Basically, it sounds like what you're telling me too is, I think you hit the nail on the head. There is you have a really systematized approach, which I think is imperative to any success in
definitely.
virtually any business practice, personal practice, or other practices. You have to have some sort of standardized operating procedure if you
Oh
want
yeah.
to be able to execute replicable positive results in an efficient manner. You have to have that process in place, and it sounds like you've developed that process, you have a way to convey that process to new hires, and then you don't just let them go. You have a consistent time of preceptorship and quality control, which I think is great because it helps ensure that your clients are getting a good positive experience.
Right. I'd rather be proactive than reactive. Also, I will periodically check up with my clients, especially now that I have an employee. I'll periodically call them and be like, hey, how's everything going? How have you been liking your cleanings? Just to make sure, like, because some people, when like they're seeing some kind of quality drop, or like, oh, they're missing something each time or something, some people don't like reach out and call because they don't want to like be a bother or something, which I don't think it is. But that's where I'm trying to be proactive in that, and
That's great.
yeah, make sure everything is staying up to par.
How do you ensure the safety and security of your patients, or not your patients, but your clients' homes?
Yeah, so the first step in that is the interview process, and as well as the background checks, the criminal background checks. That's very important because this it's a lot of trust that you're putting onto me when you let me or Elvia or any of my future employees come into your home where you live, and you have, that's your livelihood. So, and part of that is the training, the security part of that question. Definitely, I train them well on how to make sure that the doors are locked. Every day during the training process, at the end of it, I was like, okay, let's go back through the rooms and let's make sure all the lights are off, doors are closed, and the front door slash garage door is locked.
That's
And
great.
that is definitely a big one. Um, but yeah.
That's great. Absolutely. Well, so here's going to be a fun one that I had a thought, especially after you mentioned the 11 and a half hour job. What's the most difficult cleaning job Estrella House Cleaning has ever tackled?
Yeah, so actually it wasn't the first one. Um, it's pretty funny because I was wanting to practice, and I wanted like really good. I wanted before and after pictures when I was just first starting, and I totally forgot to, with my own house. It's like, oh, I didn't take before and after pictures. What am I doing? And so I hit up my friend, and I was like, hey, do you want me to clean your bathroom? And he was like, yeah, sure, sure, why not? And I go in, and I don't know if you saw the before and after pictures on the front page, but that was his bathroom.
Oh,
Um,
really?
yeah, uh, he had been living it for a few years, and it hadn't been cleaned
In
at
three
all.
years? Oh, my.
Yeah, I think 3 years or more.
He must be single.
Yeah, he is single.
Definitely. Oh, my. That must have been a difficult job there. So
It
you probably
took.
got some great before and afters.
Oh yeah, I'm really happy with the before and afters, but it took like 4 hours just for one bathroom. Um,
Wow.
but I really enjoyed it. I loved seeing the before and after, and of course I'd been his friend, so I had seen that bathroom over and over, and I was like, it's like, man, like, and once I started cleaning, I was like, hey, I know how to clean this now. I kind of want to clean this bathroom, and
That's funny.
yeah, it's just like it's night and day. That was definitely the hardest job. The toilet probably took the longest because there was so much iron buildup on the toilet. Like I was scrubbing it uh, with a screen, and I went through like multiple metal screens trying to get the layers and layers of like iron buildup or whatever it
Oh,
was.
right.
Yeah, that took at least an hour.
So aside from, foregoing cleaning for 3 years, what are some common cleaning mistakes that people may make at home?
Well, cleaning people's houses, I've noticed sometimes they have a lot of scratches on their mirrors. It's really important that you use not a like soft fluffy cloth on mirrors because it catches onto little sharp objects that might be on the mirror, and it just drags it along the mirror, and suddenly boom, there's a scratch, and you're like, I don't even know what I did wrong. Uh, that's one mistake I notice. Another mistake I do notice is it's really funny if you uh, every time I walk into like a master bathroom um, or a shower that has glass walls, if there's no water spots on their glass, they have a squeegee in their
Absolutely.
shower, and then
Yep.
vice versa. If there's a bunch of water spots, they usually don't use a squeegee. If you want to be like a proactive and getting rid of those water spots, I would definitely use a squeegee and just squeegee it out at the end of your shower because those things become almost permanent sometimes. Like it's the water spots. I think it's the really hard water, like full of minerals in Arizona. Uh,
Right.
that's what I heard from a few clients, which
Yeah,
causes the water
especially
spots.
if you don't have that water softener. Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's a great recommendation there. What about COVID-19? Has that impacted your company at all?
Well, since I started quite a bit after the shutdowns, it hasn't really impacted me. Um, However, other cleaning businesses, I heard like the horror stories of there was actually that same event that I went to right when the shutdowns happened. They they were at the cleaning event and people were crying and because they were scared, like the business owners were crying because they were scared that they're going to lose everything, like everything that they worked so hard on, years of building up their business, and then suddenly, like they're, and so
Right.
what the person who runs that event, her name is Debbie Sardone, and she's also the one who runs Cleaning for a Reason. She's a really great like leader. Like she's a leader of leaders. Like think about that. But she stood up and she started talking to them all. Like they're terrified of the future, and as everyone was. Um, but she was like, listen, we're not gonna be like cows who run away from a storm when it comes, but we're going to be like buffalo that charge into the storm to get through it quicker. And she definitely like stood up and inspired those people and the cleaning companies that uh, instead of running away and getting scared of the shutdowns, instead they pivoted. The ones that were successful during COVID pivoted and began doing, the procedures of wearing masks, being more careful with sanitization. Actually, there's a sanitization add-on that many of them started adding where you can, like 26-point sanitation or something, where they get the doorknobs, counters, high touch surfaces.
Right.
So they can good business like smart business owners are able to make it through almost any hard times, but definitely COVID-19 affected a lot of cleaning companies and obviously a lot of other companies and people. But yeah, it hasn't affected mine except for in the way of me hearing that and feeling more secure in the fact that like throughout anything that happens, as long as I'm pivoting and like keeping up with the times, it's going to be okay and
I
I'll
think
figure
that
it
is
out.
very true. Absolutely. Maybe a better question is, how has COVID-19 informed your practice? So, have you initiated any protocols or procedures to help mitigate risk of infection to your clients?
um Not necessarily. um Definitely just house cleaning in general keeps your home more clean,
Hmm.
and that is a big one, just your health overall, because there's not only COVID, there's the flu. uh, I'm sure you can name off like 500 other diseases and
Yeah.
things that come from like not keeping clean. But
What products do you use?
so right now for all purpose I use Zep, and all purpose is basically just like a more intense soap degreaser type thing.
Okay.
uh, and then we use Zep glass cleaner as well. And then I actually got the idea of using Zep from Facebook when I was asking a question. Just I think it was in like the Estrella Mountain our community group. I was like, "What do you guys use for your cleaning products?" And a bunch of people were like, "Zep, Zep, Zep." Like this stuff's great. I was like, "Okay, I'll try it out." And yeah, it works. It works better than what I was using before.
Okay.
Um, and then we also use barkeepers. Barkeeper's Friend for shining up like sinks and like stainless steel. And then we use we use Comet as well for like white surface shower floors. Uh,
Excellent. Okay.
but yeah,
What about for marble? Anything special for marble countertops?
um, just the all-purpose, but obviously with those surfaces, you have to be careful not to rub off the finish on them.
Excellent. Well, definitely. definitely a lot of opportunity there. So tell me, how do you maintain a positive company culture?
Yeah, so the way that I do that, obviously, it's just me and one other person, and uh, she's been going for I think 3 or so weeks now. But uh, I mean, we get along great. But to keep that going, when you start getting more and more people onto the company, to maintain that culture, you you hire based on your core values of the company. And so I know for sure two of the core values, and then one more I'm trying to kind of piece out, and I know what I want them to look like for the company. But so the first core value is own it. So you make a mistake, you take personal responsibility, and of course that applies to me as well. Take personal responsibility. You let me or someone know, and the company, like, hey, I just scratched this glass. What should I do? And I'll be like, okay, I'm gonna contact the customer, and then see if they want it replaced, or if they're just like, no, it's okay. And then
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more with that principle there. I don't know. Maybe you've been listening to some of our other podcasts because I've definitely mentioned it before.
oh really?
I'm a huge proponent for extreme ownership. Big fan of Jocko Willink, U.S. Navy SEAL commander and author and leader among leaders, as you would say, in regards to some of his ideologies. And one of his great book I actually recommend is called Extreme Ownership. And I think it's just so imperative, personally, professionally, and in every way, to take that extreme ownership and hold your staff members and everybody you kind of have relations with accountable to that.
Definitely. And as a business owner, I take a special form of personal ownership because anything that happens in my company is inherently my fault. Like, I can never blame someone else for something that happens in the company because, well, if it is someone else's quote unquote fault, I'm the one who hired them. Uh, or if like something happens, it's everything. I can control pretty much everything. Like, I have full responsibility and full control over my business.
I
And
think that's a great perspective to have.
right, yeah, not taking like the victim mindset in that way. Um, but the other core value that I have, so I have own it, and then be kind. There's probably like a better way to say that, but be kind is not causing drama, um, things of the sort. Getting along with your other coworkers, and of course your boss. Um, and then the last one, something to do with like working hard and teamwork. And so these are the things that I'm looking for in the interview, and that uh, if they're things to hire and fire by, is how like the phrase goes for core values. If things aren't going well with an employee, like if they don't show these things, talk to them. And if they still don't show these things, then they're not a fit for your company, because your company's about these core values, and then they just don't fit into that company. It's very core, obviously, to your company.
Well, it sounds like you put in a lot of thought and planning into keeping a positive company culture. So I thank you for doing that.
Yeah, definitely. One of the most important things is like the employees and their relationship with them.
So we've talked about COVID, we've talked about staffing and appointment setting and reliability. What do you think is the biggest challenge facing the cleaning industry today?
The biggest challenge. Um, well, I just came back from an event with a lot, like it was 500 other cleaning companies, and I got to see, the things that they were going through in the stage of their company that they were in. The biggest challenge right now is finding good employees and keeping them. But
Mm,
the event wasn't just like, nobody knows like what to do. the main speaker, Debbie Sardone, and a lot of the bigger businesses, they have the solution to that problem, which is, so how do you attract a so you're looking for good employees that stay, right? So looking for them to
Right.
get good, and you want them to stay. So how do you attract good employees? Well, you show that your company culture, you show your core values. It's part of why I'm doing like employee appreciation posts, not only for the employee herself, but to show like future employees, like, hey, like we genuinely value you here. You're not just someone who cleans the houses for us. You are a person,
Right.
and you help us out like so much. Like you save us so much time, and obviously you're helping us grow the business. And then so that's how you like attract them. And then another way to attract them and keep them is by paying them well. If there's another better cleaning job that that pays better, then they're going to be more attracted to that. So I it's part of why my prices are what they are. I actually recently raised my prices because I was like, I want Elvia to get paid well. Like cleaning is, it's a workout, and it's, doing it for 8 hours a day or something. It's not a job that someone would. Uh, it's a job that you deserve like more than minimum wage for, obviously. And the
Right.
average pay right now, obviously this is probably going to get outdated quick, but the average pay for cleaners right now is like $16-$17 an hour.
Okay.
Um, but for my employees, I pay a 45% cut of the job. So it ends up averaging like $22 with my old prices, and I'm trying to make that more like $25. So this is something that
That's
I'm
excellent.
attracting the people who want to make this their career. Like, I
Right.
also am only going to be hiring full time workers. Like, they're not just one foot out the door, the entire time. They have another job too. They have other
Right.
things going on. I want them full time. They're committed to the company. They get paid well, and they're happy. Obviously, another thing is to keep good employees. And that other cleaning companies struggle with is the atmosphere. But we talked about that, the core values, hiring people with those core values.
So speaking of pricing, tell me a little bit about your pricing and how you structure everything. It's my understanding you kind of operate off of a reoccurring model. You kind of do the deep cleaning at first, and then you maintain from there. What kind of packages are we talking for our community members?
Yeah, so I make it nice and easy. So it's just based off of your square footage. And so you don't need to wait for me to come to your home and give you a tour and then just be like, yeah, sure, I'll price you this. Um, it's just based off your square footage. And it's based off of, on average, like how long does a house of that square footage take to
Mm-hmm.
clean?
Right.
Um, so, for example, the uh, my home is 2,400 square feet, which is in a certain which takes 3 hours for a recurring clean at least. And so if it was priced at $50 an hour, um, then it would be $150.
Mm,
So
okay.
pretty simple. Like, it just, how long should your house take? And then you get a discount if you go uh, bi-weekly, or sorry, every other week,
Yeah.
instead of choosing every 4 weeks,
Okay.
just because it's going to not take as long to keep up with it. And it's definitely
Absolutely.
just the better option. Most people do end up choosing every other week, because it keeps up with the house better. So every four
Right.
weeks is more because it takes longer to, more dust accumulates, things of the
Right.
sort.
Yeah, that's pretty standard in the cleaning industry. Usually they have a one-time fee that's a little higher, the monthly fee is a little lower, and then, like you said, every 2 weeks is usually the best value there. So you mentioned it's based off of your square footage. Is there a multiplier you use or an easy way for our community members to be able to calculate that?
So the easiest way to go look at it is to visit estrellahousecleaning.com, and there's buttons everywhere to get to the quoting page for the prices. But that'd be the easiest way to. Basically, what it is uh, square foot ranges. For example, it's not what it is, but if it was 2,000 square feet to 2,500 square feet, your price would be this, and then 2,500 to 3,000, your price would be this. Uh, and then it would be more based on if you would choose every 4 weeks.
Sure, sure.
Mm.
Can you share with us that structure or that fee schedule?
Um, what do you mean?
So, so it may be difficult for our listeners to be, they're not looking at a web page. So, like for
Mm.
example, you mentioned it's kind of separated 2,000 to 2,500, 500 to 1,000. What does that equate to? Let's say just a monthly reoccurring.
Oh, like give an example of like a price.
Right, right.
So yeah, so the average house size up in Australia is around 2,500 square feet. So if you're looking for a first time for every 2 weeks, the first time would be 339, and then after that, just to keep up with it, and it'll stay nice and clean, 169
And is that 169 monthly or 169 per visit?
per visit. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. And then most important, how do our community members contact you?
Yeah, so you can call me at 480 696 1332. That's the quickest way to. Uh, if not, you can definitely visit my website, take a look at more things, strayhousecleaning.com. Um, and yeah, you can always message me. I'm pretty responsive on like, Messenger and, direct messages, things like that. It's easiest to talk on the phone, definitely, because I can help walk you through the process, answer your questions right away. Uh, but yeah, definitely give me a call. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for being with us today, Elijah. I know our community members are going to value the service that you're providing, and I think it's awesome. And moreover, I think you're just a great small business owner. I think you got great values and principles, and I see big things for Estrella House Cleaning. So thank you for joining us today. It's been an honor to speak with you.
Yeah, it was good talking to you, Charles.